Shalom Yashrala Yahawada, Brother Malak, back with a biblical breakdown, biblical lesson, something quick in the spirit. Be a little quicker on this lesson, particularly. Even though it's a great lesson. It's a great lesson. It's a great dig in. And that's the collapse. That's what I'm going to call this, the collapse. All glory. I want to give all glory to Yahweh, the Ancient of Days, Yahweh Shai, the Son of Man. Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahweh Shai, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahweh Shai, Ka, Chlayim La Yahweh, Bachashim Yahweh Shai, Bachashim Rakat, Kadash. All glory and honor in the Paleo Hebrew tongue of our old way, our ancient way, and the way that we're going to go back to, the way that the whole world is going to go back to. Yahweh be the glory. But this is going to be like I said, the collapse. The collapse is coming. The collapse is coming. It is what it is. It's like one thing about, you got the bitter and the sweets. Like I just got finished doing a lesson, which is one of my favorite lessons, speaking of how the Israelites are going to become gods, get the promises, the covenants, the kingdom, etc., etc. That's the honey, that's the sugar, that's the sweet of the road. That's the honey, that's the sugar, that's the sweet of the roll. But on the other side of that, you have the bitter. And let's see, this is what these false prophets, false teachers, false apostles, and these Bible casuals, this is what they don't like to go into. They don't like the dirt. They don't like the mud. But you got to understand, to get that silver, to get that gold, to get that platinum, to get that even copper, bronze, you got to dig in the dirt, in the soil, in the clay to get it, to get that diamond, gemstones. Now you got to dig. You got to dig. That digging is the bitter. Everybody, even to when you look at success, to get somewhere that you never been, the worldly saying, which we know what success is. We're spiritual men. We're spiritual women. We know what real success is. Real success is this gospel, this word, following Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, following the blueprint to the best of our ability. That's what real success is, because we're going to get everything on the other side anyway. That's the thing. You're going to get everything on the other side anyway. The women, Yahweh willing, the concubines, Yahweh willing. We're going to get that on this side. Some of us have that on this side. The wives, the concubines, the spiritual power, the glory, land, protection, spiritual protection. Most of that stuff, I would say, we're going to get on this side when this thing collapses. But in the kingdom, when Yahweh Shai establishes the kingdom, we're going to get all of that times a million. So you're going to get it anyway, man. Jake, you're going to get it anyway. You just got to stay true to your end of the bargain. You got to stay true to your end of the bargain. And that's following Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai, keeping the faith. For what is the spirit of prophecy? The spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Yahweh Shai Hamashiach. So we just got to keep the end of our bargain, fighting this flesh to the best of our ability. As Yahweh said, if you come to serve me, my son, and even to my daughter, prepare thy soul for temptation. Prepare thy soul for ups and downs, problems, conflict. Prepare thy soul, because the narrow is the path of life. Narrow is the path of life to immortality, glory, honor. For you see, and it's for you Israelites. Now, the Gentiles in Babylon, I don't know if the Gentiles in Babylon are going to be, what's the word? I mean, you could say spared. You can say salvaged. Perfect, salvaged. I don't know if the Gentile nations here in Babylon are going to be salvaged, but I know the other Gentiles in other parts of the world, they're going to be salvaged when you get further into the prophecies, because Babylon is going to be destroyed, and the chariots are coming to grant the elect salvation. So if they're not getting up out of America, then they're going to be out of luck. When you really get into this bitter, see, this is the bitter. This is what nobody want to talk about. They don't want to talk about the bitter. Everybody want the sweet. Everybody want the honey. Everybody want the sugar. Everybody want every man wants wives and multiple wives and concubines and women. But the pleasure that comes with sleep, the pleasure that comes with women. But you got to be willing to deal with her emotions, her thoughts, companionship, compromising, what she don't like, what she do like. That's the bitter. I'm giving you the analogy, going back to the bitter and sweet, the sweet and the bitter. To get that silver, to get that gold, to get that platinum, you got to dig in the dirt, the clay, the earth, the bitter. But the silver, the gold, the platinum, the stones, that's the sweet. To get that to go to a worldly sense, to get to be in a worldly sense, or to go into a worldly sense, to get that to gain the world, you got to sacrifice time, effort, sleepless nights. That's sacrifice to get success. But let's get into the lesson. So, man, the collapse, man, it's going to happen. This is the bitter. This is what's going to happen. It got to happen. Babylon has to be destroyed. Destruction has to come. If destruction doesn't come, how is the restoration going to come? If destruction doesn't come, how is the restoration of the house of Judah and the house of Israel and Yahushai's kingdom, according to Daniel 7, how is it going to be established if destruction doesn't come? How is the restoration going to take place? I ask for the fourth time. You can't have the restoration of Israel without the destruction of this current system. So the destruction has to come so the restoration can come forward. When a seed dies, yeah, it's sad. The seed is dead. But what happens when that seed dies? A plant, new life, restoration. That caterpillar, his old life dies. The spirit, the life, the breath that's in that caterpillar, it dies. His life as a caterpillar, it dies. But then he morphs, metamorphosis. He morphs into that butterfly. New life, restoration. The destruction has to come for restoration. So this is why the bitter must come. 2 Esdras 9, it says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently. And this is the Yahweh talking to prophet Ezra or Esdras. This is the angel talking to prophet Esdras, getting the downloaded information from Yahweh through the angel. And this is the times. Truly, Ezra was prophesying about these times that we're living in, that this latter generation is living in. We're living in that generation that the angel was telling Ezra about, because it's happening right now, the bitter. He says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou see part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest, Yahweh, will begin to visit the world which he has made. And how is he doing that? Wars, rumors of wars, financial collapse, death, destruction, famine, storms, tempests, volcano eruptions, floods, earthquakes, thunderstorms, civil unrest. This is how Yahweh is visiting the world which he made. It says, therefore, and that's just the bitter of that. Now let's go into the sweet. Let's go into the sweet of how Yahweh is visiting the world which he made. Remember, I doubled down on that sweet and bitter, bitter and sweet earlier within the lesson. So I just gave you the bitter of how Yahweh is visiting the world which he made. Now let me give you the sweet of how Yahweh is visiting the world which he made. The prophets, the apostles, the scholars are awakened. The book, the seals are lifted off the book. We can break it down and give it unto you people. We know you devils are listening on these cellular devices. We not stupid. We're spiritual men. We know you devils are listening. Not only that, the people that subscribed, they're listening. That's good. That's the point. So the gospel is going out. That's the sweet of how Yahweh is visiting the world which he made. The Israelites are awakening in the lands of their captivity, of the lands of their exile. That's the sweet of how Yahweh is visiting the world which he made. The prophets are back on the scene. The Israelites are awakening. The devil, the son of perdition, is being revealed. That is the sweet of how Yahweh is visiting the world which he made. You get it? It says, verse 3, 2 Ezra 9, it says, therefore, when there should be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people and the world, when thou shalt well understand that Yahweh, the Most High, spoke of these things from the days that were before you, even from the beginning, really the beginning of the world. It says, for like as all that is made in the world has a beginning and an ending. Remember I said that, the destruction and the restoration and destruction. That caterpillar, his life as a caterpillar has the end. So his life as a butterfly can begin. Even to the moth, that life as a moth caterpillar has the end, so it can become that moth. You know, even when you think about your teeth, human teeth, when you're young, you got the baby teeth. The baby teeth fall out and it grows into the adult teeth. Destruction, restoration, destruction. It says for like, Salak, it says for like as all that is made in the world has a beginning and the end is manifest. It says, even so the times also of the highest have planned beginnings and wonders and powerful works and endings and effects and signs. It says, and every one that shall be saved, this is how you're going to be saved, Israel. And every one that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works. To see what we're doing is works. When we do these digital epistles, this is work. When we go into these lessons, this is work. When we break down these prophecies, this is work. When we go out there on the highways and hedges, this is work. When we go word to mouth, this is work. It's also faith. Because if you didn't believe in it, if you didn't have faith, you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it if you didn't have faith in it. It says, and by faith whereby ye have believed, shall be preserved salvation, saved from the sad perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and with my borders, for I have sanctified them from the beginning. Then shall they be in pitiful case, 2/3, and obviously the heathens, the Gentiles. Then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways. Really, you 2/3 of Israel, of the house of Judah and the house of Israel. abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. For such as in their life have received benefits, the rich, the famous, and it necessarily don't even have to be the rich and famous. It can be regular old nine to fivers, regular old folk. It says, for such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me, and they that have loathed my law while they yet had liberty, this grace period, liberty, this grace period. We're in the grace period for you Israelites. Yahweh is warning you Israelites through us, the prophets, the scholars, the apostles, social media. When you see people on the highways and hedges, when you see the way the world is crumbling, this is Yahweh, giving grace. It says, and they that have loathed my law, the commandments, the statutes, while they had yet liberty, grace. And when there's a yet place of repentance, this is why I repent. I repent now more than ever. I repent more now than ever, man, because we're imperfect. I would never sit here and say that I'm perfect, because it's just not. I'm not. Like I always say, I'm a mortal, but I'm not just any mortal. I'll say that again. Obviously, I'm a mortal, but I'm not just any mortal. And really, that goes for all of us. Really, because what makes us mortal? This flesh, this corrupted flesh makes us mortal. But this spirit that dwells in us is immortal, because it's the spirit of God. And that even goes to the heathens. That goes to the heathen nations as well. The Gentile nations, the heathen nations. They're mortal. We're all humanity, right? We're all human. Even though we're the superior humans, the Israelites. But at the end of the day, what makes us mortal is this flesh, this corrupted flesh. But the spirit that dwells in everything. Remember what it says. It says everything that breathes or has life is of Yahweh. Yahweh created everything. So if you're Israelite or if you're a Gentile, or if you're Israelite, you're still of Yahweh. You're still of God. But I'm making my point. It says, and they that have loathed my law while they yet had liberty. But it's a pecking order. That's just what it is. That's just what you got to understand. And these devils, they don't like that. It says, and they that have loathed my law while they yet had liberty, and when as yet place of repentance was open unto them, understood not, but despised it. The same must know it by death after pain. And that's going to happen in these race wars, civil unrest, food famines, sedition of men, where the citizens go against the politicians and the militaries, all out chaos, world in shambles, food shortages, famines. It's going to be the wild, wild west. This is what Prophet Esdras is seeing. And we in those times, the fall of Babylon, just collapse, man. Like I said, this is collapse. It says, and therefore be thou not curious how the ungodly shall be punished, and when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved, whose the world is and whom the world is created for. And I'm a precept from that to Matthew chapter 24. So that's called precept upon precept. And yes, I have learned under the elders. We all have learned under the elders, they like to call them One West, GMS, Great Millstone. But even with that being said, we still have to do our own due diligence. Like everything that Elder Tahar said, everything that Elder Gabar said, everything that Elder Ramla said, everything that Elder Rakah said, I didn't take for face value. And I'm pretty sure the other brothers and apostles and scholars and prophets didn't either. We all went and did our own due diligence. We all went and studied and showed ourselves approved. Because if we didn't, we wouldn't be able to break down these prophecies like we do on our own. We wouldn't be able to dissect like we do. You got to do your own work. So yeah, they definitely are the men, the elders that were put here, and their elders taught them. And they didn't take everything they said for face value either. They studied and showed themselves approved. So everybody got to study to show themselves approved. You are accountable for your own soul. And the Spirit just brought that. And that's just what it is. You are accountable for your own soul. This is why it says, work out your salvation with fear and trembling. You're accountable for your own soul. You see, you hear, like even though our lots are already predestinated. That'd be the thing. It's like we're accountable for ourselves, our own soul, work out your salvation with fear and trembling. But then at the same time, it's like everything is still predestinated. Everything is still, your lot is still predestinated. That's the funny thing. I find that funny because you everything is ordained by who you call God anyway. And it tells you, and I believe that's in Romans, who have resisted his will. Romans 9 to be specific. The vessels fitted for destruction, the vessels fitted for wrath. One to dishonor, one was created to dishonor, one was created to be honored. And who has resisted his will? Who can resist his will? So everything is predestinated anyway. But even with that being said, so it's basically like we're playing out our predestinated role, our lot. It's like, but still you have to, go about it. Study to show thyself approved. Do what you got to do to understand what's going on. And I'm kind of like rearing to different points. But if you understand, man, you know what I'm saying. For those that's going to hear this message, and those that's in this know, that's in this knowledge, that's in this wisdom, you understand what I'm saying. It says Matthew 24 precept. It says, and Yahushua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Yahushua said unto them, see ye not all these things? Salak. Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. It says, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, what shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of your coming and the point and of the end of the world? So Prophet Ezra was giving the prophecies of the end of the world, of our time. I believe we're the generation that's going to see all of this stuff take its course that Prophet Ezra was given. It says, and let's go down to verse 4. It says, and Yahushua HaMashiach answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And that has happened. This prophecy has happened multiple times. You just had a stupid idiot that just told everybody in Africa that the rapture was going to come a couple days ago. That's just some recent festivities. It says, verse 6, it says, and ye shall hear of wars or rumors of wars. You had this that just played out during the summer, in the middle of the summer, playing out right now. Russia, Ukraine, China, America, Israel and some other country and some other nation. So you got that, you had that played out. It's going to continue to play out because World War III is another major prophecy. What business are we in? We're in the business of prophecy, and we're in the business of saving souls. That's our business. That's the business we're in. when you really dissect this thing, we're in the business of prophecy, and we're in the business of saving souls. The Israelites. It says, and Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Mashiach, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, pestilences, and it's going to come. All these sanctions, these nations, NATO, BRICS, BRICS, all of these nations, they're going to come against Babylon. They're going to come against America. They're going to come against America, man. It's all prophesied. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, pestilences. And you got that happening right now. Famines in the earth, pestilences in the earth, earthquakes in diverse places. All these things are the beginning of sorrows. Remember what is said in 2nd Esdras 9. It says, verse 1, he says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently and itself. And when thou see part of the sign pass, which I have told you before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein Yahweh will begin to visit the world which he made. And that's what he's doing right now. Matthew 24, precept upon precept. It's not Hebrew hopscotch. That damn devil, he like to call it Hebrew hopscotch because he's an idiot and the truth is not with him. Vocab Malone, which is an agent. All these damn agent provocateurs. All these damn agent provocateurs, man. Don't know what's going on, don't know nothing. Because the Holy Spirit, the Ruach Kadash, is not bestowed upon you to know. And ultimately, it's not for you. Remember what Yahweh said and what Yahushua said. Yahushua said, they asked Yahushua, why do you speak in parables? Because the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven is not for everybody. That's what makes it precious. What makes stuff precious? Rarity. Silver is precious because of rarity. You just can't go outside and find silver. What makes gold precious? Rarity. You just can't go outside and find gold. What makes platinum precious? Rarity. You just can't go outside and find some platinum. What makes, even to copper, even though bronze and copper is more prevalent than all those other metals, you still can't go outside and just find some copper just laying around. It's still, got rarity on it. But it's the least rare. A wife. Good wives. Good wives. Even some good concubines. You just can't go out and find them. Rarity. Good relationship. Rarity. Best friends. Just can't go out and just find a best friend. Rarity. It's rarity to find a best friend. So stuff that has value is valuable because of rarity. This truth, this gospel that we preach, teach, and comprehend and dissect and decode is truly precious because it's rare and it's given to a few men in the earth. And Yahweh willing, obviously I happen to be one of them. And the other men and women, but more specifically the men that has been given this wisdom. So that's what makes it amazing, makes it rare, makes it valuable, the real value, super valuable. And when these times take place, we're going to lean while everybody else is going ape-ish. While everybody else is going ape-ish. While everybody else is, when Godzilla appears out of the waters, and you see those Moabites and Ammonites really Moabites. No, Ammonites, Japan, Japanese. I believe Godzilla's Ammonites. You see those? I mean, Ammonites. You see them Ammonites going crazy when they see Godzilla coming on the scene. When people start going ape-ish, when America collapses, and when all the other places around collapse, and when things start to just heat up, we're going to be all right. Not only because of the angels is going to be protecting us, Yahweh willing. Not only are we going to have that spiritual power, I do believe some men are going to get spiritual power. I don't know if I'm going to be one of them, but I believe some men will have spiritual power. Yahweh willing, I get that spiritual power. I'll already be reacting the spiritual power anyway. Like and that's just spiritual. I'd be sticking my hands out and doing stuff already in the spirit, imitating that spiritual power to move stuff, like Magneto, to move stuff, to push stuff, the force be with you, to already be doing that in the spirit. And then when I was younger, man, I used to have these dreams. When I was younger about being just a God. We just leave it at that. I used to dream about being a God all the time, man. And I find it funny that this is where my pathway has led me to. So this is not by coincidence. None of this is by coincidence. Everything is spiritual. But I'm digressing. Matthew 24 says, "Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted and shall kill you." And some of that is going to be some of us, the elect. I don't know if, whoever it may be, whoever Yahweh wants it to be, because you got to understand, mortals don't control nothing. Even though they may think they control something, they don't control nothing, man. Yahweh controls everything, man. Yahweh controls everything. Deuteronomy, let's grab that. Deuteronomy 32:39. It says, "See now that I, even I, am He, Yahweh, and there is no God power with me. I kill. Man don't kill. I kill, and I make alive. Man don't create. I mean, we create by the means of God. Yeah, you can have sex and make babies, but we only can do that because of God. Yeah, you can go kill, shoot, stab, beat somebody to a bloody pulp. And I can't lie, sometimes I be wanting to beat some I digress. It says, "See now, I, even I, am He, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound." See, that's Yahweh. Yahweh does that. He put the spirit on people to do stuff. So man don't control nothing. It says, "And I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. For I lift up my hand to heaven." Deuteronomy 32:39 through 41. "For I lift up my hand to heaven and say, I live forever. If I whet my glittering sword and my hand take hold on judgment, I will render vengeance to my enemies and reward them that hate me." So Yahweh controls it. Yahweh puts it in people to do his bidding. We are all chess pieces. We are all chess pieces. And Yahweh is the grand master. I'll say that again. We are all chess pieces, and Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, is the grand master. So just going back, when everything collapses, like Godzilla coming out of the water, and you see them Ammonites going crazy, Gayaka, Gayaka, screaming and doing all that emotional crap. The men of the Lord, the elect, we're going to be quiet as mouses in that day. We're going to have the Ruach Kadash on us, as it is already on us. But we're going to have spiritual power. We're going to have the angels watching and protecting. Those days are going to come. Like the days that you read in the Bible, bro, where the angels came and unlocked prisons, where the angels came and transported people. when the angels came and protected people. This stuff is going to happen, bro. Yeah, and I gotta slap my just to let out some energy. Like this is gonna happen. We're not gonna no longer just be reading about this stuff. How the angels came and protected the apostles, the prophets, how they transported, how they dropped food, how they all of this spiritual stuff is going to happen again when we get into these times. The times that we're fastly approaching. As you can see, the police state, they building this police state. As you can see, they're trying to take your rights. They messing with the Constitution. As you can see, they messing with the money. As you can see, the UK just implemented digital IDs. Everybody in the UK has to have a digital ID. This is the mark of the beast. Everything is building up. 2nd Ezra 9, Matthew 24, as I'm going into it, 2nd Ezra 15, 2nd Ezra 16. Eventually, it's going to be civil unrest. The people are not going to go for it. Order out of chaos. Order out of chaos. Novus Seclorum. Novus Seclorum. Order out of chaos is all going to happen, man. But the elect is going to be good in that day. We're going to be great in that day. We're going to be protected because Yahweh has seen what we have done. This is why he tells you what Ecclesiastes 12, Salach. Ecclesiastes 12, 1. Remember Yahweh in your, remember Yahweh in your youth. Remember Yahweh before the days of bitterness comes. And that's what we're doing right now. We're putting in that work so we can be protected. Ecclesiastes. Where are you? Ecclesiastes 12:1. It says, remember now the Creator, Yahweh, you Israelites, in the days of your youth. Like I came into the Yahweh put this truth on me when I was like 20, 21, 22. Came in this truth very young. So remember Yahweh and your Creator in the days of your youth. And I've been doing it ever since. I'm not perfect. I fall short of the glory all the time. I wouldn't say all the time, but more often than not, fall short of the glory in this this imperfect flesh. But I'm not making it an excuse. Then again, you have all of these obstacles that stacked up against you. So it's like, it's just, it is what it is, man. It's a narrow path to the kingdom, man. This is why the reward is going to be so great. It says, remember now your Creator in the days of your youth, while the evil days, 2nd Ezra 9, 2nd Ezra 15, 2nd Ezra 16, Matthew 24, Revelations 18. While the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. And this is how these heathens gonna be. These they keep saying, I mean, you hear the prophets, we all say it, Jacob's trouble. But it's gonna be Esau's trouble too. Last time I checked, Esau is Jacob's brother. Jacob and Esau are brothers. They're kinsmen. Yeah, it's gonna be Jacob's trouble, but it's gonna be Esau's trouble too. It's gonna be it's gonna be trouble all around. The wild, wild west, man. You got the Book of Eli with Denzel Washington. You got I Am Legend, Will Smith. You got The Road with I forget his name. He played in Lord of the Rings, the first two, which were classics. I forget the Edomite name that play in The Road. You got The Road. You got Independence Day, Starship. You got all of these apocalyptic end time ordeals that's going to happen because it's prophecy. It says, then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted and shall kill. Matthew 24:9. The elect, some of us will be beheaded for not taking that mark of the beast. Oh well. And then it says and then shall many be offended. You're gonna have families turning on one another. But betrayal, And you already got that now. It says, and then shall many be offended and shall betray one another and shall hate one another. You got that now. You got family that hate family. You got family that betray family. You got family that's envious and jealous of family. You got all that stuff. All of this stuff is happening now. And what's the subheading? It says the signs of the end. So we're in the end times. We're in the latter times. What's the other subheading? It says the coming of the Son of Man. You got all of this stuff happening now as I speak. It says, and many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. And because iniquity, sin, the transgression of the commandments, shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. You got that all day, every day, my dog. All day, every day, my dog. The love of many shall wax cold. You got parents killing children, children killing parents, children killing grandparents, grandparents killing children, people molesting children. You got all type of sickness and madness going on. Matthew 24:12, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he, that's going to be the elect. That's why we keep telling you stupid Christians, you're not saved. These Christians love to say, oh, I'm saved. I didn't got baptized, got saved some years ago and blah, blah, blah. And Jesus. Matthew 24:13, but he or she, for that matter, that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom, which is right now, this is what we're preaching and teaching, highways and hedges, digital epistles, word to mouth, social medias. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world on the unicorn, as the elders call it, the unicorn, which is we know what the unicorn is. This is how it gets to the four corners of the earth. This is why you have people in Japan, Israelites in Japan waking up, Israelites in China waking up, Israelites in Australia waking up, Israelites in Africa waking up, Israelites everywhere waking up throughout the four corners because of the unicorn. It says, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, because the Israelites are scattered to all nations. So it got to be taught to all the nations so it can reach all the Israelites within the nations. That goes into the same thing with the Hellenization of the Jews, of the Israelites. Everybody keep trying to include the ethnic Gentiles. But the only reason why Yahushua said he went to go preach to all the nations is because the Israelites were scattered to all the nations. But I digress. It says, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. And that's where we at, man. Jumping down to verse 19 of 24, it says, and destruction unto them that are with children, and to them that give suck, infants, in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Shabbat day. It says, for then shall be, here's the point of the whole matter of 2nd Esdras 9, 2nd Esdras 15, 16, Matthew 24. This is the whole point of it. It says, for then shall be great tribulation. And that's what we're coming down into great tribulation. It says, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor shall ever be. So it's going to be something new. It's going to be something new that never happened on the earth. And the reason why it's going to be new because of technology. You know, the new technology that we got, these watchdogs, robotic dogs, RoboCop humanoid, android machines, flying droid machines, satellite machines, like, you know, all of this police RoboCop state. This is why this thing is going to be. And they showed you this in a video game. It's called, I think the video game is called something Detroit. I forget the video game that shows the lockdown and this technical smart city lockdown, RoboCop, Android dystopia that they want to push the world into, man. This is what these devils want. There's a RoboCop, technical Android technicalized society. Digital IDs, which is going to eventually become the mark of the beast. So this is where it's heading at, and it makes sense because by 2030, hopefully we don't have that long. Hopefully Yahweh comes and get the saints. Hopefully we get up out of here by 2026. As a matter of fact, hopefully we get up out of here by tomorrow. Get out of here by tomorrow, man. But 2030, there's a certain agenda. And everything is moving towards it. So that's what they want. They want a technicalized dystopia. RoboCop dogs, RoboCop droids, police state, digital IDs. They want to turn everybody to robots. Let's call a spade a spade. Stop playing with y'all. I want everybody to be a robot, man. And that's what this devil wants. He's the damn devil. But it's not going to happen because the elect is the protagonist. We are the protagonist, man. Matthew 24:22, and it says, and except those days should be short, there should no flesh be saved. Because this devil, he's just a damn devil, the son of perdition, the vessels fitted for destruction. It says, and except those days should be short, there should no flesh be saved. You heathens and you Israelites and you heathens. Keep letting this damn devil run the world. It ain't going to be nobody here. And these heathens, these Gentiles, they're coming to realize that. They're calling out the evil E. They're understanding that what we are saying has been the truth for millennia. And except those days should be short, there should no flesh be saved. Everybody knows that their gov is against them. Everybody knows that this is the matrix. Everybody knows that everything has been whitewashed. Everybody knows that this stuff is all BS, all smoke and mirrors, all a facade. It's all garbage. It says Matthew 24:22, and except those days should be short, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, the 144,000, the 1/3, that gathering multitude, those days shall be shortened. Jumping down to verse 31. Or in matter of fact, verse 24. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, and so much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. But they can't deceive us because we have the spiritual eyesight. Ultimately, they can't deceive us because we were we were predestinated since the beginning, before the foundation. That's why they can't deceive us. That's why they can't deceive us. That's why they can't get us. Because we were predestinated since the beginning, before time. And I'll end it on this. Ephesians 1:4, it says, according as Yahweh has chosen us. John 17 goes into the elect as well. According as and we know we're the elect because we understand this doctrine. We understand the book. We can decode it. So we have to be somewhere along those lines the elect. That's the telltale sign, if you will. Ephesians 1:4, according as he has chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy, set apart. Holy means set apart, and without blame before him in love, having, here's the point, predestinated us unto the adoption of children by Hamashiach Yahushai to himself, according to the good pleasure of his will, to the praise of the glory of his grace, wherein he has made us accepted in the beloved. in whom we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of our iniquities. Like our sins are covered. The elect is the elect. They're covered. Their whole lot, whatever. They're just playing out their story when you really like when you play a video game was whatever the video game directors created for the role of that character is going to happen regardless. He's just playing out his role. That's the analogy I can give you. It's just forgiveness of sins, or that Bible character, well, book character, but definitely the scroll character, the Bible, the scrolls. It's just forgiveness of sins according to the riches of his grace, wherein he has abounded toward us in all wisdom and prudence, having made known unto us the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, of his will, according to his good pleasure, which he had purposed in himself. So all of this stuff just got to play out. Prophecy just got to play out. Everybody just got to play their part. You got to play your part, man. It's, like sports, right? Role players. Everybody's playing their role. Star players, superstar players, generational talent players, regular players, so on and so forth. With that, I'm going to say Kahalam La Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakadash. Let the games begin.